England's landmass makes up 2/3 of the UK, along with other islands in the vicinity. The entire population is around 53 million inhabitants, and the residents represent around 83% of the whole in the UK.
England is bordered by Scotland and Wales. England is separated from the European continent by 34 kilometers of sea, with France on the other side of the British Channel.
England's three largest cities are London, Manchester and Birmingham.
The capital of England is London. London has 8.5 million citizens and is divided into 33 districts. One of the districts, which is named Greater London, is covering 1,579 square kilometers, which makes it one of the world's biggest by area.
The city has a river called Thames. The Thames flows through the city from west to east and is crossed by large mountain bridges, including the famous London Bridge.
Thames Lake is still not the largest one in England. The largest one is called Severn and extends an incredible 220 miles.
Hello, today I'm joined here by Rowan Atkinson. I'm going to ask him questions about his life and so goes on, and you'll respond in whatever way you feel like. So tell me, when were you born?
I was born the 6th of January 1955, so I'm 62 years old.
And for the people that do not know you, what exactly do you do?
I'm an actor, comedian, and screenwriter.
Out of all of your amazing projects, what would you say you're most known for?
I think I'm most known for my roles in Blackadder and Mr. Bean. I also worked on James Bond, Never Say Never Again, and I played a priest in 4 Weddings and a Funeral. I also voiced the bird, Sasu, in The Lion King.
So out of all of your amazing work, which ones have you actually gotten an actual award for?
I was listed as one of the top 50 funniest actors in British comedy and amongst the 50 funniest ever in 2005. And in addition to my BAFTA in 1981, I received a Oliver for my theater performance in Rowan Atkinson Review.
And what about your cinematic work?
My cinematic success came with my performance in Mr. Bean movies such as Bean and Mr. Bean's Holiday, and also with Johnny English and the sequel Johnny English Reborn.
Thank you for coming here today, and tune in for another episode.
The British culture is the culture that exists in Northern Ireland, Wales, England and Scotland. The British people is commonly known for their politeness and their self-discipline. It's normal to thank for any everyday situation after getting their food at a restaurant or after people offer you things. It's also normal to excuse yourself when they walk past someone and accidentally touch them. You might even hear sorry from the people you touch. When they ask for something, it's normal to say please. This expression is used a lot and you can be seen as rude if you don't use it. The football culture is strong in Britain. Football is a large and popular part of the English culture. English has several big and known football clubs that is known worldwide, and a lot of Englishmen love to watch football games.
These cultures are very different but still so similar. Even though these countries live hand in hand, they stand out on different occasions. When it comes to drinks, beer and tea is very common all over Britain. When it comes to food like Yorkshire pudding, Worcester sauce, fish and chips are known as like stereotypical English food dishes. In Wales, Welsh rarebit is quite popular, and vodka is popular in Ireland and Scotland, and they often have an Irish or Scottish themed vodka. This is just a typical view of the British culture. That doesn't mean that all Brits are necessarily very polite. It is of course differences to this culture as well as others. A big part of the landmass in England is pasture or farmland. The country produces products like eggs, meat, milk, potatoes, and wheat, while a lot of fruits and vegetables has to be imported. In West England, they have livestock being used as dominant farming. Pastures and lowlands can pretty much be used the whole year.
East England has a lot of agriculture, relative dry and sunny climate. Wheat and sugar beet is bred especially in the east, while oats is grown in the moister areas in West England.
Forestry is a modestly but a pretty comprehensive afforestation. Through several decades will gradually increase tree felling. The forest covers a small part of the country's area, and the forest in England is mostly deciduous.
England's foreign trade has traditionally been an all-time high, something that has a connection with the lack of raw material found and necessary export of specialized industrial products in their country.
The fishing industry is especially important for the North Sea ports in England. The fisheries has gone back since 1970, partly because of the overfishing, but also reduced fishing grounds as a result of creation of economical zones in the ocean around the coastal states.
London has the most tourists because of its big and varied culture and entertainment offers, but also cities like Winchester, Canterbury, Oxford and Cambridge are attractions worth seeing. Stonehenge is north for Salisbury and has more than 1 million visitors yearly. England has a considerably car, bike and foot tourism because of its many national parks and attractions.
England was initially a country in 927 and takes its name from the Angles, who then were one of the Germanic tribes on the Indo-European language tree. They settled there during the 5th and the 6th period. The Angles name had several different spellings. The earliest known indication to this tribe is a book in Latin, Angli, used by Tacitus in his books. He gives no precise indication of where their position within Germania was at this time, but stipulates that they, along with 6 other tribes, worshipped a goddess named Nerthus on an island in the ocean. The earliest known evidence of human presence in the area now known as the UK was 780,000 years ago, but they first started to settle down permanently 6,000 years ago. Roughly 11,000 years ago, when the ice sheets began to recede from the last ice age, humans repopulated the area. Genetic research suggests they came from the northern part of the Iberian Peninsula. The sea level was lower than now, and Britain was connected by land bridge to Ireland and Eurasia. As the seas rose, it was separated from Ireland 10,000 years ago and from Eurasia 2 millennia later. The beaker culture arrived around 2,500 years before Christ, introducing drinking and food vessels constructed from clay, as well as vessels used as reduction pots to melt copper ores. It was during this time that the major Neolithic monuments such as the Stonehenge and Avebury were constructed. The beaker culture provided more bronze and later iron from iron ores. Development of iron melting made the construction of plows, for instance, which helped advancing agriculture a lot, and as well as weapons. There is a debate about when Christianity was first introduced to the English population. It was no later than the 4th century and probably much earlier. According to Saint Bede the Venerable, missionaries were sent from Rome to try to settle differences to specific ceremonials in the UK 180 years after Christ, which was disturbing to the church's messages. By 410 after Christ, during the decline of the Roman Empire, Britain was left unprotected by the end of the Roman rule in Britain and the withdrawal of the Roman army units. Roman military withdrawals left Britain open to invasion by pagan seafaring warriors from northwestern continental Europe. This takes us right into the next age, the Middle Ages. During the settlement period, the lands ruled by the incomers began to fragment into various different tribal territories around the 7th century. Around the Tudor period, the Renaissance reached the UK through Italian courtiers who reintroduced artistic educational debates from classical antiquity. The British began to develop naval skills, and exploration to the west intensified by a large margin. Competing with Spain, the first British colony in the Americas was founded in 1585, named Roanoke. The Roanoke colony failed and is known as the Lost Colony. after it was found abandoned on the return of the late arriving supply ship. Based on conflicting political and religious ideals, the English civil wars were fought between the supporters of the Parliament and those of King Charles I. The parliamentarians were victorious. Charles I was executed and the kingdom was replaced by the Commonwealth. The leader of the parliamentary forces, Oliver Cromwell, declared himself Lord Protector in 1653. An extended period of personal rule followed after this declaration.